A year after the pandemic had started in 2021, I received an email in my generic inbox. You know, when you write to president@montana.edu, that's the generic one. It was on a Sunday, and it started something along the lines, my name is Mark Jones, my wife and I are building a home in Whitefish, Montana. And he came up and introduced himself as a neighbor. They had grown up in Canada, Lethbridge, Canada, and now they had an insurance company in Dallas, Goosehead Insurance. And turned out that a member of their construction crew had fallen ill, very ill. And Mark and Robyn wanted to establish a scholarship in his name. And then he said that in the process he had learned a little bit about the healthcare system in Montana, and he wanted to help. And he wanted to have a conversation with me about what resources could be leveraged to take healthcare in Montana to the next level. That was February of 2021. We scheduled a Zoom meeting in April. That's when I first had an opportunity to meet Mark. And I remember having read recently an article in the New York Times about how nurses had been the unsung heroes during the pandemic, and how the nation had a debt of gratitude. And I mentioned that to Mark, and I said, you know, Mark, we have a College of Nursing at Montana State University. It has a distributed model because we are a rural state. And what about if you and Robyn consider helping us? And that April, he invited me to pay a visit to their company. I invited Dean Sarah Shannon to come with me, and that's how we met Mark and Robyn. We sat down for 2 hours and we talked about this state. We talked about the beauty of the state. We talked about the assets of the state. We talked about the people of the state. And then we envisioned together what we could do. And so when we left, Mark said, why don't you write a proposal to us? And Sarah and I said yes. And then during our trip back home, in that airplane flight, we were writing that proposal right there. And I remember I told Sarah, this is a $100 million ask. And we started working on that. And we delivered it to Mark a few weeks after that. And he called me and he said, well, you swung for the fences, didn't you? And then he said, give me 6 weeks. Give me 6 weeks. And exactly 6 weeks afterwards, I heard that they were ready to give us an answer. And this is a true story. In their answer, they were willing to fund 4 of the 5 sites we were proposing. But they did not want to fund a Missoula site. Because some numbers, right? Some ROI things, and so I called them. I called Mark and said, Mark, where are you? And he said, we are in Whitefish. I said, can I drive to see you? So next day, Sarah and I just drove 6 hours to Whitefish, and we sat down, and Mark is sitting at the head of the table here, Robyn is sitting at the opposite side, and we're very, grateful about their generosity. But I told them, Mark, you understand, if we do not fund a building for Missoula, no one will believe this was not my idea. And I said, I really need a building for Missoula. And Sarah helped with some of the numbers, and there was this, and all the while he's writing in his laptop. And then he shut the laptop, he looked right across to Robyn, and both of them nodded. I still remember, that was a very emotional moment. That is a huge shot in the arm for the state of Montana. I will also say that night,